Hello and welcome to Sunday Night Live. It's my third live on LinkedIn. Still not 100% positive on the use of the third-party streaming tool, but hopefully everything will fall into place. So just bear with us a minute here to make sure that everything's working properly. Okay, looks like I'm in. Still having some issue with the comments piece of it. Oh, that's a pain in the ass. Just bear with me here. Okay, there's going to be a slight time delay. It's not quite like the Facebook Live where you can see all the comments. I'm just playing with the buttons here, so just bear with me. For some reason, last time it didn't show the comments. Yeah, it might be the same issue this time. Let's see. Okay, I can't necessarily see the comments. I'm not sure when they're going to populate, so my apologies for that. I did a test run on Facebook. Okay, I can see a couple of people in now. I did a test run on Facebook where the comments showed, but every time I push comments here, it doesn't show. So if somebody wants to make a comment just so I can test it, that would be great. Ted, I see you're in. And Dan, one more time. Okay, hopefully it'll come to life. Anyway, all right, so today's topic is inventory, okay? My last LinkedIn Live talked about basic process from in your service, how to become more profitable and more efficient. And today I'd like to talk to you about inventory. Stores do inventories typically once a year in their parts department. A lot of them do perpetual inventories throughout the year where they check a small segment of their inventory, and that's how they keep on top of what what the health of their inventory is. With the cars, it's a little bit different. You spend a lot of money as a dealer on inventory, and in millions of dollars. And in the past, where floor plan was an area where dealers made money, it is now an expense that seems to be taking dealers out kind of one at a time. All right. Aged inventory and inventory strategy. There are a few things that just about every dealership goes through. The areas that you look at as it relates to inventory are your volume cars, okay? Those are the cars that you use to hit specific OEM objectives. You have incentive cars, cars that earn you money, and you have at-risk cars, okay? Cars that are in danger of becoming aged inventory, where it's going to cost you money in floor plan. Now, aged inventory is not just a problem with new, it's also a problem with used, kind of across the board. And then also another area is off-brand. Okay, if I'm a Chevy dealer and I take in a Nissan Altima on trade, I'm just checking here to see if anything's happening regarding the comments. Not yet. Anyway, if I'm a Chevy dealer and I take in a Nissan on trade, then somebody looking to buy a Nissan may not think of a Chevy dealership as the place to buy that car. All right, so those cars typically tend to sit on the lot, and used cars are kind of funny. Some dealers floor them, other dealers own them for cash. But make no mistake about it, however you own or floor the car, it costs you money. If you own it for cash, that's something known as frozen capital, where you have a lot of money tied up that you need in other areas of your business in order to stay afloat and remain profitable. Just to give you an idea on the sheer magnitude of the numbers, all right, in 2015, the dealers spent on average about $606 per retail to get a car off the lot. And of that, they then kept 2.7% of the net profit. So imagine this, you've taken $100 of net profit, and after all of the expenses clear, you keep $2.70. Seems crazy, but that's the reality. In 2016, the dealers spent the same amount, $606, to keep the same 2.7%. In 2017, that number was $627, but yet now they kept 2.3%. So $2.30 out of every $100 of net profit is what the dealership kept. Okay, that's a lot of money to spend to make so little in return. All right, and typically there are three areas where dealers kind of they worry as it relates to their inventory strategy. They worry about the people. They worry about the marketing aspect of it. How many leads am I going to get? Oh, wait a minute, I see something here. Oh, it says, who's your favorite team during the... I don't follow sports, Gene. No sports at all. And the other area is, how to manage their inventory. Okay. Now, dealers I talk to spend upwards of 20 hours or so a week to manage their inventory, and they don't always get it correct. All right. Having spent a lot of time in the field, I'll tell you a story of a dealer that I went into that I called on them. They were not very forward thinking. They're very much penny wise and dollar foolish, and then had the blinders on. All right. So this particular dealership, I called on. I drove onto the lot, and before going in, it was a cold call. I do some quick research, which is very easy to do, and I pick a couple of cars, and I check to see what the pricing strategy was. Okay, dealers spend a lot of money in third-party sites to market their inventory, and most of the time they really have no idea as to how effective that marketing is. They have no idea. I'm gonna say dealers probably spend 80% of their budgets to market maybe 20% of their cars. And they oftentimes either don't know how to look at the data or don't have the proper tools or the reporting to be able to analyze exactly where their spend is going. All right, because when I ask the dealer, okay, so you're spending $9,000 a month on this particular third-party site, another $12,000 on the other site, and can you tell me how many cars you've sold off of that? And the answer usually is, I don't know. Or there are other sites that they spend money on, and some of these sites are really smart. They hook you in with something free to get you onto their platform, and then they upsell you additional packages to market your inventory. But those typically end up being a race to the bottom. Why would I buy your fair priced car when I can buy your competitor's better priced car? Doesn't make any sense. So unless you are the cheapest on some of these platforms, your car is not going to get a lot of notice. And even if you were the cheapest, it doesn't mean that you're the only one that they're going to sell that lead to, because a lot of these third-party sites don't really care who, as long as they have subscribers, it doesn't really matter which one of those subscribers does better than the other. And that's just a cold hard facts. I talked to some of the reps that work for some of these companies, and this is data that they give me. All right. So going back to this particular dealer, so I look and I find a car in inventory, and I look and see how that car looks across various different third-party sites. And what I found was that the price of the car on the third-party sites was off by as much as $6,000 higher than on the dealer's website. $6,000. So that just meant they didn't have the tool to make sure that the pricing was consistent across all the channels. And people today, they search on some 18 different places before they hopefully get to your website and get to your dealership. So $6,000 off. So I went to the dealer, the general manager, and I gave him the stock number. I said, hey, can you tell me how long this particular car's been on the lot? And that car was about to celebrate a birthday. I said, I see you have it priced for X amount of dollars on your website. And looking at third-party sites, I see that you're as much as $6,000 higher on the third-party sites than you are on your own website. How do you think that's going to play out as far as moving that car, and do you think it might contribute to how long that car has been sitting on your lot? And this is the part that kind of blew me away. So the GM said to me, yeah, I'm not really as concerned about what the pricing is on the third-party site, because when they get to my website, they'll see the lower price and they'll come in. I said, I hate to break it to you, but they're probably never going to get to your website because they go through third-party sites before they get to yours or other research online. So probably not going to be the case. However, there is a tool that you can use that will make sure that all of your pricing is consistent across the web in all these different areas. And that tool was minimal in cost, yet he didn't want to spend the $800 a month on it. For him, it was better to spend 20 hours a week, have a car sit on the lot for a year or better, and do it the old-fashioned way. Well, when he corrected the price in the third-party sites, guess what? That car sold almost immediately. So do the math. How much interest do you think he paid to carry that car in inventory for a year? Probably more than it would have cost him for a third-party, a tool that would have done all the work for him. And a lot of times these gurus, they do everything by gut or by experience in the store. All right. So if there's a car that's hot in their market, but they've never traded for it, they might not know that that's a good car for them to buy, because a lot of it will sell in their market, even though they've never had it in the store. He's only going by his own experience and in-store data. But there are tools out there that will look at market data, cars you've never had in inventory, but other dealers are crushing the market with. They supply all of that, right down to trim level, color, what you should stock and what you should take a chance on. There are even tools where, let's say the car comes in on trade that you've never had and you're not really sure. There are tools that you could get a price on that, a competitive price that's, with a national company that will put the right money on that car, because that particular auction platform, they placed it in the market where that car is worth more money than what you could do. Not only that, but you can also insure that value, or you can insure the car for 45 days. So let's say I've never taken in a particular car, and maybe I want to roll the dice, but I'm not sure I want to gamble money on it. Ask dealers how much wholesale loss they take. There are some that take quite a bit every month at the auction, which is kind of crazy, but it happens. But in any event, so you take in a car that one tool tells you other dealers in your market are crushing it with, and then another tool tells you what a good value is, where you could place that car now if you got scared, or in 45 days. If you can't move that car in 45 days, there's a serious problem. But just to be on the safe side, there's a tool that will allow you to bail on that car in 45 days. So basically, you're never underwater. It's a no-brainer. You have to let go of the old school way of doing things and be ready to embrace technology to do the job for you, because you can't be everywhere. It's like, the technology I compare to playing chess, all right? If any of you out there play chess, if you play with a friend, you have a chance of beating your friend at chess depending on how much time you and or your friends spend playing chess. But if you're going to play the computer, you're never going to win. Never. Unless you set the difficulty level to stupid. But I don't think there's a stupid level in chess, nor is there a stupid level in marketing your inventory, not when you're spending millions of dollars. So rather than cling on to the old ways and put the blinders on, embrace the technology. So the dealer that changed the price after I made him aware sold that car immediately, but he wasn't ready to spend money on a tool. So I said, you know what? Let me go back in 6 months and I'll revisit the conversation. That should give him enough time to see the error of his ways. Go back 6 months later, do some quick research. Lo and behold, guess what I find? The exact same situation. He's got another car that's been there for quite some time. Pricing inconsistent. I ask him about that stock number. That one too is approaching a birthday. You know what he says? That's okay. They're going to find the car on my lot. They didn't. He changes the pricing. That car goes away instantly. Yet he's still not ready to invest in a tool to automate the process. So I write in my follow-up, go see the new owner in a year, because obviously this guy's not going to make it. And guess what? When I went back a year later, the dealership was under new ownership. A larger group that's more progressive, that leverages technology to move their inventory. So that's a real world story of what happens every day. All right. When I go on different dealer websites, okay, and I look at their inventory, all right, there's a dealer. I'm not going to mention any names because I don't want to embarrass anybody, but it's 2020, right? So that means that all of the cars that you had in 2019 just like that became a year older because the calendar changed, all right? So here I'm looking at a particular dealer online. He's got one 2015 new car listed, all right? So that car just celebrated a 5th birthday. Now, I don't know about you, but 5-year-olds, they're not all fun. Mine were terrific. But I hear horror stories from other parents where their 5-year-olds, they get lost in stores. They freak parents out. Well, guess what? If I had a 5-year-old brand new car, I'd be freaking out, right? Here, this dealer's got 5 2018s, all right? So that's 5 cars that just celebrated their 2nd birthday, the terrible 2s. Oh, and this particular dealer I've been watching for quite some time. Online, it shows that he has this many new cars. But here's another story, and I'll give you a pro tip. He's got more than that, because what he did is after buying out the new cars, he placed those new cars in his used car inventory. All right? It's very easy to track because you just look at the Carfax online and it tells you how long a car has been sitting on a lot. So when a car sits on a lot for a long time, like I said, floor plan, very expensive. But there's other costs involved. Cars that sit there for periods of time, batteries go. Well, guess what? When your battery goes, that's not covered by warranty. That's something that you have to pay for. And then that's on the Carfax report. Oil's not just going to sit there. Now, granted, it doesn't get much use, but it's typically time or miles. So if you have a 5-year-old car, you've had to do a certain number of oil changes on that car, even though you didn't use it. because it just can't sit there. And then you look at things like lot damage, otherwise known as policy expense, okay? And I apologize for not being able to see the comments. Unfortunately, I've reached out to the company. I've not heard back yet regarding seeing the comments, so I'm not going to see them until after the live. So again, my apologies. But yeah, so the cars that sit on the lot, batteries get replaced at the servicing, and then keys. All of these cars today have fancy keys that are $200, $300, $400, some of them. How much does a key cost when a key gets lost? And keys easily get lost. Or you have that salesperson that the customer comes in on that car, and the car's been sitting on the lot so long, there's no kind of tool to make sure that it's still in good working order. A lot of times, salespeople don't even know where the car is. So you've got the customer in tow that you're bringing over to the car, and you hit the button, and nothing happens. So now, after having looked for the car for some time, and the battery's dead, now all of a sudden your customer looks at their watch, you know, I can't believe it's gotten so late. We really have to go, but we'll be back, right? So now you've lost the customer. So when a car sits on a lot for a long time, there are a lot of costs involved beyond floor plan costs, all right? When you look at their data, you'll see that a lot of the cars don't get any kind of VDP views at all. So they may be spending money to advertise them, or they may be spending a lot of money on AdWords and things like that. But when you look at the actual data, those cars are not getting seen. They just sit on the lot. So just because you spend money on marketing doesn't mean that anybody sees the car. A friend of mine was looking for a used car, and I went with her to look at cars. The first car we went to look at, oh, you see the comments. Why is it not showing on here?
I don't know, but you could use my phone.
Oh, this is awesome. I have the best wife in the world. So now I'm able to see, oh gee, thanks, Patty. Now I'm able to see the comments. Hold on a second, let me take a look. Okay, yeah, now I can see the comment. Okay, so we figured out the platform. So sorry about that. All right, so I went with my friend to look at a car for her. The first car we went to, opened the door, I smelled it. I didn't say anything to her. I closed the door. I said, Jan, why don't you go in the car and you take a look at it? She got in the car, closed the door, immediately opened, got out. She said, the car smells. We can't buy this car. So again, the dealer spent money to market the car. They didn't take the proper steps in preparing the car so that when a customer came to look at it, they'd actually want to buy it. There's a certain number of people that will bail on cars because they smell. Just the reality of the way it is. So then we went to the next dealer, and she found the car. Hey, Sean, you can definitely identify with this because your product fixes that problem for not a lot of money. So yeah, that's awesome. So we went to the next dealer. She found a car that she liked. The car looked beautiful. Okay, a couple of blemishes, but it's a used car, so you're not ordering cars from the used car factory. We drove the car. Everything was beautiful. So now we go to pricing. All right, they have a one price strategy in this particular store. And you know, there's a thing called showrooming. When people are in your store, they're looking at your car, but they're also checking pricing at other dealerships, because guess what? You're not the only one to have this car. So in checking the pricing, I see that particular car that she loved. And I told her, you know, just go easy, don't show too much enthusiasm. That car that she loved and ended up buying sat on the dealer's lot for quite some time. That car had incurred $1,500 of markdown because it sat on the car so long. Dealers spend a lot of money, $2,500, $3,500 a month on inventory tools, okay, to price their cars according to the market. And these tools are really crafty. They'll tell you how to price your car competitively or cheaply so that that you can move the car, but then at the same time, they're the same guys sucking you into their auction to sell you more cars that you're going to pay a lot of money for. All right, so brilliant stuff here. But in any event, that car was marked down $1,500. There was nothing wrong with it. A couple of minor blemishes, but other than that, the car was perfect. I mean, it ran like a champ and it looked great. Now, you know why that car sat there so long? Because it wasn't marketed to the right audience. It doesn't matter if you have the best price in the world if the customer is not seeing your car. Okay, it doesn't make any difference at all. But yet, dealer after dealer will spend tens of thousands of dollars to be on these third-party sites for the race to the bottom and have no idea whether or not anybody's looking at their cars. And that's a lot of times why cars end up sitting there so long. So makes no sense whatsoever. So, and it's not always about being the lowest. You just have to be in the game. That's all. If you're in the game and you properly market the car, people will find it. There are tools today that you can use, all right? The customer journey, they don't just walk onto your lot by chance, all right? They go to 18 different touch points before they even get to your car. By the time they get to you, they know what it should cost. They know what accessories cost. They know what financing rates are. They know what extended warranties are. They know all that stuff before they come to you. And when they ask you a question, they already know the answer. They just want to hear your answer to see whether or not you're truthful or if you're the person that they should be buying their next car from. And if you give them the wrong answer, they're gone, and they're gone for good. All right? There are tools today that will follow the consumer journey. All right? So let's say I'm looking for a car, and I'm considering 5 different cars in the market. I'm going to start my search online because I don't want to talk to a salesperson. I don't want to talk to a store. I want to do everything in the comfort of my own home or on my phone without being hassled by somebody on the phone. Oh, are you coming in? Do you want to drive it? Or are you going to buy it? I want to do that all by myself. Okay? So as I look at 5 different cars and I narrow down my search, okay, I eliminate the 5th one, the 4th one. By the time I get down to the car I want to buy, down to color, year, make, model, trim, all of it, okay? By the time I've done that, now I'm ready to buy a car. When I've exhibited the behavior that is indicative of a car purchase about to happen, this software will serve up to me wherever the computer determines it's best to reach me at time, particular website, the VDP of the dealer's website that has that car that I'm looking for. All right? It's the effective marketing is the right message to the right person at the right time. So if I know you're looking for a specific car and I serve up that exact same car to you, chances are very strong that you're going to act on it. All right. I have a hat for my company that one day I was on Facebook. This thing pops up. I said, "Hey, get a custom hat for $7.99." It was relevant to me. I clicked on it. I bought it. A few days later, I had it and I wear it when I go out now. All right. The point is the message has to be relevant and on at the right time. With inventory, if customers are looking outside the dealership and you have no control over that, but if you had the software that tracked all of their behavior and knew when they were ready to make a purchase decision on that specific car, and you served up your VDP to them, now you've got a shot at selling them a car. But it gets even better than that. When you look at the data in the dashboard, what you tend to see is that 25 to 32% of the cars that are targeted end up leaving the lot. That's a pretty strong number. 25 to 32% of the cars targeted leave the lot. Now, here's where it gets really, really interesting. That's a good number by itself, but how many times does a customer come into your store looking to buy the red car at the end of the showroom, and on the way to that red car end up buying the blue one that's somewhat different, that they didn't see before, but they're walking by it and they see it now, and that's the car they buy? Does anybody have a guess as to what percentage of the time somebody buys something different than what they came in for? Who can tell me that answer? Da 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 da. Anybody know? All right, I'll give you a hint. About 70 to 80% of the time, a customer will come in and buy something different than they had intended to buy. So if the data in the dealer's own Google Analytics shows that 25 to 32% of the cars that were actually marketed to left their lot, and 70 to 80% of the customers buy something different than what they came in for, do you have any idea what that number is? That's freaking huge. That's a huge number. But yet, a lot of people don't look at it. And then you have people, you want to move inventory, but there are still stores today that subscribe to the, oh, I don't want to put my price online because they're just going to shop me and use my number to buy the car somewhere else. Well, I don't know about your store, but the loyalty that once existed doesn't exist anymore. People don't really care where they buy the car because sales and service departments are now quite different. All right. It used to be that if you didn't buy a car at a particular dealership and you went in there for service, they told you to go pound sand, and they could get away with it. And then the OEM surveys came about, and now you live and die by the survey. So the service department quickly told the sales department, hey guys, nothing personal. I know you guys didn't sell this car, but if the customer comes back to me, we're going to treat them like gold because we want the survey and we want the factory money that goes along with a good service survey. So just because you guys didn't sell it doesn't mean we're going to treat them like dirt anymore, because that's not going to happen. Okay? So and so few customers go back to the dealer for service anyway. So the loyalty isn't there. Now what seems to be, customers seem to be loyal to is timing of response on the internet. So a customer may reach out to several different dealerships for an internet price. And most of the places are just going to respond with their generic response. They're all the same. There's no differentiator whatsoever. And some of them might give you a price, and the prices pretty much fluctuate all over the board. There are some people that give you a lowball price that doesn't include stuff that you've got to ask a few questions before you get the real answer. Most of them are very similar, but then some of them are out in the stratosphere. But the person that gets back to the customer quicker oftentimes is the one that customer will be loyal to. All right? It doesn't have to be the lowest price. You just need to be in the game. And the customer will travel 1 hour or more to come buy a car from you. It happens all the time. I had this experience in September where I contacted a number of dealers to buy a car. I'm in the business, so I understand the market, how it works. And 3 of the dealers just flat out said they weren't interested in the business. You come in with your best price and we'll beat it. No, that's not how it works. So I drove an hour to a dealer to meet my daughter who traveled over 2 hours to come pick up the car. And she's very happy. We're happy with the dealership. It was a great deal. It turned out to be the best deal. But even I would have paid more. I want to pay more for a better experience, because once you buy it, you're going to keep that car for a long time. And price doesn't really make that much of a difference. People want convenience. So the easier you make it for them, the better the chance that your car is going to leave the lot. So you've spent money to get customers interested in your car. And now, when they do inquire, your people that are working the front line to move that inventory, you don't train them. They have no training whatsoever. They don't know what to say. They don't know how to say it. They don't know how to follow up. The follow up is about getting somebody to come in and buy the car. Yet, some of the follow up that I've gotten, one went like this. Hi, did you buy a car already? No. Okay, I'm just touching base. Let me know when you'd like to come in. Okay, I'll do that. Not. So, spend money on tooling to properly promote your inventory, and then train your front line of defense, your internet people, because they're the ones that are going to get the inquiry. They're the ones that need to be able to deal with the customer and bring them in. And as far as, you don't have to be the cheapest, but don't go crazy either. Like I said, you just need to be in the ballpark. Don't think you're going to make a lot of money. You're not going to score a 10-pounder by just throwing your line in the water. That's not going to happen. Michael, how are you? You need to be competitive. That's it. But you don't need to be the cheapest, and you need to be good. All right. When I ran internet departments, I had signatures set up on my phone, and maybe I'm a little more psychotic than the average person, but I actually woke up in the middle of the night. When the phone went ding, I got up, I looked at the phone, I saw a lead came in, my response was already in my signature. All I had to do was personalize it with a couple of things. I hit send, and bam. Could be 2:30 in the morning, I would respond. I'd get a shocked response back. You guys are open? It's 2:30 in the morning. It's the internet, baby. We're always open. It's 24/7. And I've gotten some dealerships, I've gotten some customers that a few exchanges of email at 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. I got credit card deposits on particular used cars that we only had one of that they were very interested in. And I scheduled appointments for Monday morning for them to come in and spot delivered those cars when they came in. So it can be done. You guys just need to better market the inventory and have a process in place to respond to them. Some of these offshore response companies that don't know your store, don't know your inventory, don't know your culture, why are you wasting the money? If the customer has a question that's specific, they're not going to be able to answer that. The first fumble, and you're out of the game. Hey, that was a football term, and I know nothing about sports, but I think that was a football term. In any event, so you've got to have a real plan in place, right? Just get them in the store. Don't worry about making money right off the bat online, because you're not. Your opportunity isn't there. Your opportunity is in the box, in the finance office, and in service. Okay, so basically your goal is to stuff the service department full of customers, happy customers. And after you sell the car, make sure that you introduce them to the service department so that they come back to you and set your appointments and follow up on those appointments to confirm them. And make sure that they come for the entire life cycle. All right. Last week on Sunday Live, I showed you online that there aren't dealers advertising for service. You're crazy like me, Paul, 24/7. Yeah, that's the way you have to be. You know, there are thousands of people that do what we do, and most of them suck. So why would they come to you? I had one guy say to me, "Oh, I've had 5 or 6 Subarus." Really? How many have you bought from us? None. None? Well, that settles it then. You owe me a sale. You're coming in to get this car, period. Made the appointment, and the guy came in, and within an hour of coming into the store, we spotted that guy in a new Legacy. You know, you have to act on it. So, but getting them to come back to you for service, introduce them to service. If they complete the life cycle of service, they're 5 times more likely to buy from you. All right. And then another area where you can move some more of your inventory off the lot is by using equity mining. There are a lot of good tools out there. There are good services out there. The problem with most equity mining tools isn't the tool. The tools work wonderfully. The problem is the people are lazy. There's zero implementation. The people don't log into the tool. So you set them up with a tool that works, something that does a soft credit pull, so you have an idea as to what you're going in. It tells you how many cars they have that are being financed. Maybe the car that you're looking for making the sale on isn't one they can get out of, but maybe they have another car that they can. Okay, so some of these tools are very good. They work with Conquest. Half the customers that come into your service department didn't buy from you. That's just a fact. And in most cases, you don't have the data to be able to effectively approach those people. If you walk up to them, hey, you want to buy a new car? No, I don't. I don't want to buy a new car. They don't want to be bothered. However, if you're armed with data, okay, you might not have sold that car, but they're coming to you for service and have been coming to you for service since they bought it elsewhere. You have all the history, so you know how well it's maintained. You know all the work they've done to it. You know any work that still might be outstanding. And now arm yourself with data so that you know what their financial position is, what their monthly payment is, an approximation of what the credit is, all of that, and any other vehicles in the household that you might be able to trade. Because sometimes people will buy 2 cars at a clip. I've seen it lots of times. They were just coming in to look at one, and they end up buying 2. You know how many cars in the heat of summer that I've unloaded in 90-degree weather, minivans, taking crap out of the old car into the new, and you hear the same lines over and over. Oh, I was just coming in to look. I wasn't planning on buying a car today. Yeah, okay. You get out of that 5-year-old rat box that rattles, that smells, and you get into a brand new car, you're going to buy that car. It's really that simple. So, spend more time making sure that you're doing everything possible to get that sale. With the equity mining tool, know and be armed with the data. So you're not going up to them and asking them, hey, do you want to buy a car? No, I don't. You're going up to them, hey, you know what? I know, listen, Mr. Jones, I know you're coming in for that 60,000 mile service, and I noticed that last time you were in, they recommended brake work that was going to be coming up, and your tires were getting low. Listen, before you end up spending a couple of grand on this old car that's out of warranty, I've got people looking for cars just like yours, and we're having trouble getting them at the auction. We're spending stupid money at the auction. If it's okay with you, I'd like the opportunity to test drive your car and maybe buy it from you. Because if I like what your car rides like, we'll do the work on the car, and it'll cost us less to fix it than it would cost you. And, why spend $2,000 on an old car that's not in warranty when you could take that $2,000, maybe keep some of it and get into a brand new car at the same payment? That just makes more sense. And those people might be inclined to take you up on that kind of an offer because it's a different approach. Now, if you buy their car, guess what? They need to buy another car. It's not rocket science, but it's a whole different mindset. You've changed the rules of engagement. You're not asking them to buy your car. You're asking them if you can buy their car. And you're armed with data so that you're able to have a more intelligent conversation with them. You show genuine interest because you know you're going to pay an arm and a leg for the car at the auction. And by the time you recon it, sometimes you're into the car for retail, and then you wonder why you're stuck with it. So proactively go after those customers. There are deals in your database. A good, decent dealership will do 1,000 to 2,000 customer pay ROs a month. You don't think there's gold there? With people holding on to their cars an average of 11 plus years now, which is the longest time in history, you don't think there's deals to be had there out of 1,000 to 2,000 customer pay ROs? That's how you're going to move some of your cars. New cars, used cars, it doesn't matter. A lot of cars going into service departments today have 70,000 or more cars on them, and they're out of warranty. So that means if something catastrophic goes, they're going to spend a good buck to get it. Thank you. Thanks, Marcus. So why not approach it that way, right? There's more than one way to skin a cat. So chase the business and you'll get more business, because anybody that gets out of their old car and gets into a brand new car, they're going to love it. You know, dealers have loaner cars, 30, 40, 50, 60 loaner cars. That's one of the best tools going. You put somebody in a loaner car, they get back at the end of the day, they're not going to want to get into their old car if you approach them properly. And again, you're armed with the data. You have everything that you need. Their payment history, their credit history, their equity situation, all of it you have, so you can approach them intelligently. And if you think it through, since everybody that comes in, well, not everybody, but a large portion of the customers come in, they have appointments, so you know well in advance who's coming in. If Mrs. Jones is coming in with her car, and because you've done your work and you've looked up her history, you've spoken with her service advisor to find out that Mrs. Jones now has 3 kids compared to when she first started coming into the dealership, and maybe that compact car that she's driving with the 2 car seats stuffed in the back, maybe that's not the best car for her. Maybe you can give her a loaner that's a mid-size SUV that would better suit her new lifestyle with the car seats. Maybe when she comes in to drop her car off for service, you as the salesperson can go help her install the car seats from her old car into this mid-size SUV that she's going to take and use for the day. I'm going to tell you something here. It's not going to take her long driving that car that better suits her new lifestyle to realize that that's really the car that she should be driving, not the small car that she's been in all these years, right? And again, because you have the data, you know what her budget is, you now can craft a plan to have a conversation with her when she comes back about getting out of her old car and into the new car. That's how you're going to get some stuff done. Because now you're not just looking for a car deal, you're actually looking to make her life better, right? A car is the second most expensive purchase in anybody's life today. If you can enhance her life by helping her make better decisions on a car that better fits her lifestyle, you're looking out for her. You don't think she's going to appreciate you? She'll probably buy all her next cars from you. Because that's looking out for the customer. So those are just some of the ways that you can help move cars off your lot. New cars, used cars, all of it. Let me know if you have any questions, and happy to answer them. You know, sometimes you can't see the forest from the trees, and we do things the way we've always done them, right? I can go into stores, and I've been into many stores where you walk in and there's a GSM or a GM. They're not doing any out-of-the-box thinking. None. All they're doing is they're working the desk. They just want to be desk managers. That's it. I've got so many hours to get through the day. Let me get through the day. Let me put out my fires, and I'm out. On to the next day. Not too many people are looking at the bigger picture, okay? There are store after store after store that's going out of business. No joke. If you're keeping $2.30 out of every $100 of net profit that comes in the door, how long can you afford to stay in business? Apparently, a lot of them can't, which is why they're going out. So, out of the box thinking. Do what the other people aren't doing. Respond quickly. Properly market. Don't just bury your head in the sand and spend all the money on third-party sites. Utilize artificial intelligence, machine learning, and predictive analytics to your advantage to better position, price, and place those cars that you've paid a lot of money for into consumer hands a lot quicker. tomorrow, when you get to your store, run the report that shows how much you've spent on floor plan expense. Run a report that shows how much you've spent to service cars that have been in your inventory. I'm not talking about recon expense, that's normal as to a used car expense, but run a report that shows how much you've spent on doing oil changes, replacing batteries, doing ding and dent repairs on cars that have just been rotting on your lot. Add all that money together and see what you're spending on a monthly basis for dead inventory, stuff that's just sitting there. All right? And then let's have a conversation. Give me a call. Happy to consult with you. You can reach me at 203-257-4727, or you can send me an email at paul@thewhitetablecloth.com, or you can inbox me on LinkedIn. Look at your numbers, and let's talk about a better way to move that inventory, to cut your floor plan expense, to cut your inventory carrying expense. The conversation costs you nothing. It's complimentary. And after we have a conversation, one of two things is going to come out of that. You're either going to say, hey, you know what? I'd like to learn more. Or for some of you, I've got this all covered. Thanks for confirming that I'm doing everything the right way. So thanks a lot for watching another episode of Sunday Night Live. This is my third live on LinkedIn. I'm honored to be able to broadcast on the platform, and now have discovered the way to see the comments as well as go live in this third-party platform. So thank you very much, and look forward to seeing you on next week's Sunday Night Live. And any questions, comments, concerns, I'd love to have conversations with all of you out there that need the help. So thanks again, and talk to you then. Have a great rest of your night. Good night.